Think of yourself as an athlete, as a business athlete. No athlete in the world keeps themselves at peak condition all of the time.
Try and create a real barrier between work and home.
The company can't manage without us. Well, believe me, it can.
How are you feeling? How's your wellness? So how would you recommend looking after yourself?
I love that question. It's not addressed often enough. It's all about the workforce. Of course, that's really important. But there are, if you're not feeling great, it's very difficult to create a good environment. And one of the things I say is what stops us from looking after ourselves is often guilt. As business owners, we feel like we should be working all of the time. We should be working harder than everybody else. We should be in first, and we should be out last. And what I say is turn that on its head. Think of yourself as an athlete, as a business athlete. No athlete in the world keeps themselves at peak condition all of the time. Because if they try to do that, when they get to do the race that they've got to run, they're not ready. So to keep yourself mentally fit is an important part of your role. And it's pushed to one side, as if we can pull it out and constantly be on it. But the ability to, and I am really good at this, it would surprise most people, I am really good at this. I'm sorry, I need off time. And I feel no guilt whatsoever because I understand that when I'm needed, I'm going to be able to bring my game because I've kept myself mentally fit. So to me, it's all about the guilt. Get rid of the guilt, and recognize the power and importance of being that business fit. So when you've got the big deal, you can really bring it on.
We've had to face into this a lot in Nestlé because the working from home situation has become a lot more prevalent, and obviously the pandemic accelerated that thinking. So it's useful having quite a few tips, which is, think of your time at your laptop as you would your office, and you leave your office physically at some point. So when you are going to stop work and you're at home, create a barrier, a change of habit between switching your laptop off and going back into the house. Sounds rather strange, but get dressed for work at home. And then when you've finished your day's work, switch your laptop off, switch your notifications onto silent, shut the door if you're lucky enough to have a home office, go and get changed as if you'd just come home from work. And then you're with your family. And of course, one of the greatest relievers to workplace stress is being with the family and spending quality time outside of work. Try and create a real barrier between work and home. And if you owned your own business, you won't do it. Just try it. Experiment.
But before that, recognising that we need to take a break. It's my wife that will point out to me, you need to take a break, you're grouchy, or you don't look well, or you're tired. But we need to start recognising it in ourselves and give ourselves permission to do those things, give ourselves a reward. How do we do that?
I think it depends what matters to you. And also, we always think that nothing, the company can't manage without us. Well, believe me, it can. And look at it as what is the next stage in your career. And if it isn't working as you are now, what is it that's important to you? And start building that now. And you've got to make time for that. So you can't carry on at the pace that you're doing and not invest time in what's important to you. Because when you stop, you don't know what's there anymore. So really think about what's important to you and what you value.
There's maintenance things that I will do all of the time, which means I don't build up the pressures. I'm really not a stressed person at all because I don't build up the pressures. Of course, there are moments when I think I can't deal with any more. And that's when I have to stop myself and think about myself. And we're not very good at that. We kind of think it's selfish, or we kind of think, well, we can't show that we can't deal with this. But I'm very good at saying to myself, okay, I'm not functioning very well now. I need mechanisms. So I think people finding their own mechanisms to say, that's my maintenance stuff. That's what I'm going to do on a daily basis, come hell or high water. And the other stuff is the stuff that I can bring in when actually we have all of those, all of us have those moments when actually life just feels like my head is going to explode.
People need to know they've got a choice, don't they? That it isn't just that usual list of things that people recommend.
Yes, and we encourage people to talk about what makes them happy and healthy. So we encourage our employees to talk about what it means for them. And it's not just the athletes, it's the people that really need it as well.
My question is really, what impact do you think that has on the team? And what impact does it have on a business on the long term? I've got two styles going on in the business at the moment, which is difficult.
That's interesting, because what you often find in an organisation, and I can sense it, I walk into an organisation and I can think, oh, there's a happy, cohesive, that team are bought in. You get another team in a different, literally in the same room in a different area, and think, oh, something going on in here. So I think it has an absolutely huge impact, and I think that you probably know the people who are resisting buying into mental well-being. And you've got to tackle it. You need to, because actually somewhere in there, they're human beings. Outside of work, they'll worry about their friends and their families. So I think you have to find the trigger, get them engaged in bringing the same things they care about outside of work into work with them, and just treating people in the same way. There should be no barrier. I see too many people get to the door of their workplace, take off the coat of all the stuff they care about, the kindnesses that they show other people, the empathy and the compassion. They take all that off at the door, and then they behave in a completely different way. That's dishonest. That is not authentic. So we need to get them to keep that coat on and just allow them to be people within the organisation. You do that by showing how much you value that. If people will behave in the way that is valued in an organisation. So if you can show them, if you can encourage them, and you said something before, it's drip feeding often. I think you have to have a starter conversation. You do have to have a conversation, but then you don't let it go. It's just not a nag, just a constantly bringing it into the conversation, because it has a massive effect on an organisation.
100%. We recognise deeply the fact that there's a phrase in human resources that says that people choose to join an organisation, they choose to leave because of the manager. Okay, so that's often the case. We recognise the importance of it. It has a direct cost for your business. We measure all of our leaders on two scales: the what they achieve and the how they achieve it. And that affects their promotion prospects, it affects their reward. It has a real impact on them, and that's how seriously we take it. So if you want to make a difference, you can put things in place that will actually start to drive that change. Health and mental health in particular are at the forefront of our thinking as an employer.
Simon's challenge is this potential clash between people who are embracing this topic and others who are perhaps more resistant. June, what would you suggest?
I think the first thing I heard was you've got managers and you've got leaders, and leadership is very different to managing. So I think Guy's right. We put a lot of emphasis on the how as well as the what. We invest in employee health and well-being, and we expect people to behave in a way that empowers their direct reports and the people that they work with. So I think making sure that they understand that actually they will get better results and there'll be more productivity at people who you take along with that journey, rather than just dictating what you want, because all you do is create a set of people who just do what they're told. If you want innovation and you want people to really go with you, you need to lead them, not manage them.
How do you undo that conditioning, especially later in life when you've perhaps had 30, 40 years of it?
It takes time. So it's going back to, what do I want to achieve and how long have I got to achieve it? So start off with, right, what's our ambition? So do we want to be managers or do we want to be leaders? Where do we want to get to? And then start building those blocks as you go along. So when you bring new people into your business, bring in people who want to lead. Don't bring in people who want to manage. And eventually you'll get a groundswell of people who will behave in that way because they become the outsiders. And we're a bit like herd animals, aren't we? We want to be like everyone else. So if you get more people who want to lead and give people that psychological safety that they can be their authentic self, the others will eventually come along with you.
Thanks to our experts for sharing their insights and advice on workplace wellbeing. If you'd like further tips, visit nestleprofessional.co.uk.